I just did an update on bed levelling and then something went wrong, like it normally does. What happened was, this is the Y-axis motor, sits right at the back of the machine there, and this is the pulley that apparently they'd glued on. Well, it's not glued on anymore, and if you can see that there, that amount of movement was happening. Right, another quick update on the CR10 clone, the CTC10S. Got the bed off again, once more, and those magnets correspond to two magnets on the back, and it just clicks back on again, like this. I'm going to get some new magnets, some round spherical magnets, and half some ball bearings in the middle of the machine to make it so it is a kinematic connection. It can go back the same every single time within a very small tolerance. I think I've shown the new filament run out sensor there. I'll just use some very high bond double-sided sticky foam down there, 3 layers of it by the looks of it, and the washers that I used for the bed leveling last time, I'll leave them in position. They did the trick. Oh, this shield, which I made out of a deodorant can, which was stopping the wire from bunching up and then flinging like that, I'm going to redesign that. Oh yes, and here I am making a tensioning system at the moment. So they go in, they push against the 2 bolts which hold it in, with brass plugs protecting the threads, so I can just tighten to push it out and loosen to loosen it off. So more and more upgrades happening to the CTC, but I am looking at another printer. But it's very disappointing when this happens and you want to do a 3D print and you know you can't. So I'm looking for an enclosed Core XY or just a Core XY printer. Not too bothered about the volume. This has got a really big build volume on it, and I'm looking through them all. Right, so I ordered some bits, like I said, the pulleys, and this is a smooth pulley. I didn't really work it out very well. I ordered one smooth pulley. They come with 2 little 4mm to 8mm or 4mm to 10mm bearings, whatever they are inside them, one either side, pressed in. One smooth bore, and then 2 like this one. So this is the plan of action. I'm going to put the nut right down to the end, whack a washer on it. This one out as well. Put the washer on the opposite side, put the nut all the way down, put a washer on, like that. Then I'll stick these through from the other side, and if you wanted to see, there's the tooth pulley. I put on the other side as well, and as you can see, they're loose. So at present I should be able to maybe touch it with my finger and just by doing that it's already quite tight. So I go zeroed out, going to add around about 2mm onto this, so they're working out at 42.5 plus half mil makes 43, so they'll be 45mm long cap screws. And I've chopped the head off in my lathe, but you don't have to use a lathe to do that. You can chop them off with a hacksaw, and then they fit into the holes at the end of the Y-axis perfect. I didn't want to do it this quick easy way, but I also didn't want to get a piece of steel, drill 2 holes at 20mm to match these 20mm, and tap and die them tonight, and I wanted it working. Well, I wanted the white axis working anyway. That is nowhere near tight enough. These pulleys are smaller, obviously. The saga continues. The saga continues. It does, it just, this continues to get more and more exciting. How much further can we go than that? I don't think there's anything left there. There might be. Let's have a look. It comes with 2 grub screws. I've poured Loctite inside both of those, and a lot of it. You're still moving, aren't you? I'm trying to stop you from rocking, but there. And then this is the arrangement that I came up with for the idler pulley. So I can show you the idler pulley now. We can measure it, and it's all falling to pieces, obviously. Oh, magnetic. So these are not 4mm fixings, these are 3mm fixings. So I went on the lathe and I turned a brass bushing. The brass bushing is 4mm, or yeah, 4mm ID, 3mm, so 4mm OD, 3mm ID. And I polished the outside of it to make it a really nice tight fit, because it was way too tight. The original unit comes with 2 washers, perfectly fitting, and then a not perfectly fitting one. So I could put them on the inside, but that's why it looks a bit strange, and the washers all over the shop, the ones that don't perfectly fit. That's the way it come. And they just screw into that hole there. So I took the 2, tighten that up nice and tight, and make sure it spins nice and free. There, lovely. And the OD of that, 12.92, 12 at its highest, okay? And it's a GT2 belt bottom, GT2 pulley. If there's any problems, we will find out. And that's what the bracket looks like. It's very simple. It's only got 3 bolts holding the stepper motor on. So what I am going to do is I'm going to add T-nuts, T-slot nuts. Let me get some T-slot nuts and show you. These bolts will be too long now, so I'll have to find some more bolts. But generally what you do is you put the things through like that, and then you can put the nut and bolt through the bracket, off the bracket up. And when you go to tighten it, these nuts turn round 90 degrees. I don't know if you can actually see that. I don't know, probably. So, and then if you go to undo it, you can undo it till it's loose, and then they just come straight back out again. So you put the nut in, turn it to tighten it up. I'll try and do it again. And as soon as you turn it to tighten it up, it turns into the position it needs to be to lock it in. It can't come back out again. It automatically locks into the right position. Got a bit of an angle change gone on. I've just done the rear assembly up. Now we're back to the front assembly again now, and we haven't got much slack, and before I even put any kind of tension on, it's got loads left. Right, plug that back in. That'll do for this evening. I've done plenty tonight. I've rebuilt the Y-axis. And it feels good. Not perfect. It will get better. A lot better. It's going to be on linear rail soon. It's nearly finished the bases. Here we are inside the CTC10S case. It's upside down and the back's off of it. My Big Tree Tech upgrade It's taking longer than I thought. I'm getting through the wiring harnesses bit by bit, but the printer makes a lot of noise. I want to try and silence it down a bit on the original A-net board. Version something called the A-net board, just one of those little orange ones. So I have purchased a couple of version 1 Big Tree Tech smoothers. It isn't marked in and out. They only work one way, I guarantee you, the diodes. So I don't know if they're right or wrong, I ain't got a clue. So that's either going to be the output or the input. That is the X. We'll plug X into it, and then I'll plug this into the motherboard. Consider that plugged in. I don't think we can do any damage. There's only diodes. We're only going to block electricity, not going to do anything spectacular. So I'm just going to make it sort of safe. Plug the power back in again. So this is all live now, about touching it with my hands. And oh man, let's unplug it again. I'm going to have to put it together a bit better than that. I need to get to the control screen. So, best laid plans. Forgot where the screwdriver is. Get a screw. It's unplugged again, by the way. Need to put this here somewhere where it's not going to chafe out on something metal, so we'll just dangle it there for the time being and be careful, hopefully, otherwise there will be sparks. These are stainless screws, which makes it extremely difficult to do things, but they do look nice. Style over substance, I say, always style over substance. Anyway, I'm just going to whack it back together really quickly, like that. One screw, holding bare minimum. Turn the unit back over gently, the correct way. Try not to touch anything too much. Plug it in, and we'll go for a... It hasn't blown up already. The fans make a bit of noise for a start. But I'm going to set you up now in where the printer is, and we'll see if the X works. Right, it's set up again. The fans have stopped being noisy now, it doesn't take them long. The old hot end is here. I'll just try and stack it here somehow like that. Hopefully it'll stay there. I don't think it'll probably drop off. Don't be too worried about it. It is going. So I'm going to home the printer now. If it's going the wrong way, obviously X needs to home this way, not that way. If it's going that way, I'll just press the button here. So I think we're going to prepare. Scroll down to auto home. It's the right way. There we go. But Y hasn't moved. So why Y hasn't moved, I don't know. It's probably because that step mode's in the... Well, it is. Ah, stop. We'll just stop there. I haven't got the Y motor plugged in, so I'll plug it back in again. There we go. Now it's plugged in, so we'll try auto home again. Prepare. Auto home. So yeah, that is incorrectly. So I'll switch it all off now, and I'll take you in, show you the correct orientation of the smoother. We'll set the Y-axis up in the correct orientation, mark the board so I don't get confused, and then you will know which way to plug them in on yours. Got you in as tight a shot as I can get. The power is unplugged, although it's probably good practice not to touch anything. So if it's anything the same, and it's V1, V3, V5, V7, and V2, V4, V6, V8. Okay, so odds towards the motherboard. That's what it's saying to me. I've got them both installed there, and that white tape you can see is this stuff here. It is Scotch Extreme double face, double sided tape. But they do the same job. So I'll just mount them like that. And I'll put 2 layers of it on them. The reason I'll put 2 layers on is just to keep these contacts here, which are almost piercing the insulation, a little bit further away from touching the metal. So there. They shouldn't move too readily now. So they've got the screen, which you've normally got. Standard screen, the power supply, the 2 smoothers, 12 volt power supply for my lighting. That's about it. And crammed loads of stuff around the side there. So that's the last upgrade I'm doing before I put the new screen on and finish the wiring off. I have got a couple of the wiring harnesses finished, but they are very tedious. I'm basically making these aviation sockets, and by the time I've done one I don't want to do another one for around about another 5 weeks, because they're so tedious, time consuming and irritating to do for me. So I've got a few more things done. Bits of hardware I've turned up. I've got some M2.5 hardware. I've got M2.5 brand new medium quality taps. I tried to find my favourite ones, but they're good. My hot end magnets, which I put on, which hold it, they're not quite how I wanted them. I tried to heat them up to get them off, but all I ended up doing was start to melt things. So I've got to strip that down again, heat it up, get the 2 magnets off, which are just held on with super glue basically. This stuff, and this is just industrial grade super glue, and it's strong stuff. And I've got to get them off the plate up as well up here. The new magnets turned up, which I'm going to be using to hold them up there. That's why I bought those. There will be 3 on that, like I said, and 3 on that. That will hold them up. The other thing I did, I finished all the holes around the perimeter of the heat bed. I've got the bed back on, and I've got all the holes drilled. 4 of the holes here. One of these has got a drill snapped in it, but I'll drill them 15mm deep, so I managed to put a 6mm M2.5 in this one here for the earth. So they are 12mm. I've made a strain relief here, and it's still not doing what I want it to do. Not to worry. So I've got to make another shield for the stepper motor, so the wire goes over the stepper motor. So the rebuild is complete. It wasn't a very good rip. Now it's just ridiculously too much. So that fan's working. You can hardly hear it. The fan that you can hear is coming from the computer box. It's got a few fans inside it to cool down the motherboard and the power supply and what have you. So that's all those parts. Also, I've done the modifications for the cable stay, and I've made a new cover for the Ujima flop. I don't think we can do it here. I don't know. I have to do movements. Prepare movements, move axis 10mm, move the Y axis. So now when I do that, it is smooth as silk. I'll take you in for a closer look. I've I made a jig and cut some PTFE tubing to run down the side of the aluminium, and it's made it smooth as silk. It really has made it smooth as silk. It's maybe not the nicest looking part in the world, but it's definitely functional. So I'm going to heat the heat bed up now, then I'm going to level it. After it's levelled, I'll bring you back for the start of the print. I'm just sorting out a few problems here. First problem is, second problem, but the first problem I'm going to show you is this here. That spring is fully unwound now, and it's not touching. So it's probably around about 4mm, 3mm less. Well, you can see the insulation I put in there as well. Hopefully that's going to stop some more heat transfer. Got a copper heat block and a completely aluminium top housing. Fingers crossed that will do the trick. And here's the aluminium can, which I've dissected, and it's naturally curved because the tapered toward the top, so you can't make this one completely flat. That's fine. And then I've cut these PTFE tubes, just slit them on a little jig I made, and then slipped them over the end, and that has made that as smooth as silk now, and there's no snagging anymore, which is, well, I don't know how long it's going to last not snagging, because the original one didn't snag for a start, but ended up snagging eventually. Anyhow, this one is not snagging at the moment. So I was thinking about it, I was just about coming up to a decision of what I'm going to do, and then this happened. So I just had a package turn up. I've got a few Allen keys, nuts and bolts. Hope this camera stops shaking in a second. There we go. A couple of aluminium plates, some spacers. Very nice. He says it's a bit thin. No, it's alright. So that is going to be that side, I should imagine. This will be, it'll fit somewhere, you know. A load of bolts and those quick insert nuts, loads of Allen keys and some aluminium spacers. So I've got all those to fit, and then there should be some linear rails in here as well. Here they are, they're linear rails. Okay, that worked. Alright, okay. So I'm going to fit these Z rails. I'll go there, like that. And here is my new toy on my old computer desk, which I made many years ago. Still works. So it's a Tron XY, or TRONXY, whatever you want to call it, and it's nowhere near as, it was nowhere near as good as this. So the bed this came with, the nozzle had been dipped into it many times, and it got a great big hole in the centre and square marks around it and everything. The seller sold it with a new surface, so that took some fitting, getting the old glues off, but I've managed it. Oh, some things I've done here. Spacer underneath this was way too high. When the pulley's got this towards this motor, I tried to ride off the pulley, pretty bad. Same for this one. This was too high, so I just lowered it. It wasn't doing anything particularly bad, although when it was getting close to this pulley, it was trying to pull it up a little bit as well. So I've done that. I've retensioned the belts. The cable run here. Yeah, I know, I only decorated them. Just forget about that bit there, yeah. The cable chain thing run here, it dragged against these, and you couldn't get the second extruder bearing tube in. So I've made a little bracket up here, you can see there, nice little bracket I made there, and that holds it further away from the hot end, allowing access to both inlets there. The X switch was completely and utterly loose. I have taken it to pieces, taken it off completely, modified it, reworked it and made it fit. It, from what I could see, didn't fit from new. So it was another FFN for me to sort out. What else have we done to it? Oh yes. In every place I've put stiffeners. What else have we done so far? My oh my. Oh yeah. So these are Titan extruders. This one was fitted okay-ish. Well, it still isn't fitted correctly because I'm still figuring out how to get these bolts to go in. I think I'm going to get some countersunk screws and put them over the other side and have nuts on this side. Still loose because the bolts don't go all the way through. They touch the 40x20 extrusion and you can't get nuts in the back there. Okay, this side. The extruder was not where it was. The extruder was upside down and back to front to where it was. I took the whole extruder to pieces and reoriented it so I could fit it exactly, well, just about equal and opposite to the other side. At the moment this is fixed perfectly, obviously with the extruder turned on the opposite way, so the bearing tube being here, it is now on the outside, so I've been able to push this one all the way out, so that one's all bolted up and secure how it should be. And this extruder was mounted this way, pointing that way. That was mounted on the back, pointing this way to get underneath it. It was quite an amazing setup. I'm sure that's how it came from the factory, but it just needed reworking like that to make it, just take it to pieces, put it back together again, and in a different orientation, it's perfect. So that's all good. It came with 2 free spools of PETG. It doesn't look very good, the material, but I shall give it a good baking in the dehumidifier for a couple of days and dry it out and try it out. So I'm here near my mini lathe. Got scrap metal bed in front of it and some WD-40 and whatever. And here's the dehumidifier. And they've been in for 24 hours. Black roll at the bottom and the red roll at the top. I've just got the TRONXY X5SA up and running. I've done the bed levelling and we're going to give it a go. The CTC10S is not going to be ready today, this weekend, so I'm going to get a video out. And it's going to be of the first prints on the TRONXY X5SA and all the trials and tribulations of me trying to build the CR10. Of 230 on the nozzle and 82 on the bed, it seems to have got there. I'll tell you what, let's look at me doing it. Back, so I'll go back, I'll do a print, and there should be alright, I found it. 20mm test, PETG, and play. It's gonna bring it up to 240, and I don't know what it's doing, but it's going to bring it up to, well, it's going to reduce it down to 70 degrees. That's what it recommended. Oh, here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go. And oh good grief, let's pull that bit of PETG off there. Is it going to do a priming line or something? This is the first print I've ever done on it. Who knows? a bit of skirt for a start. Doesn't even start coming out yet. It's just curled up on itself, and no chance. Oh, there we go, got something coming out now. Is it going to print? So this is the first play. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to redo all my levels again. And clearly that was not good enough. You know what else I didn't do? Didn't clean the bag. Right, anyway, I adjusted this down to its maximum downness. That's the sensor, the TRONXY sensor. I've adjusted that all the way down. And then we come in, we press tools, press level, auto, and it goes in, it does an auto, bed level. So we do that, we do that. Okay, so it measures that, gets it nice and close, comes across. No, I thought I'd set that. I did set that. So anyway, it comes across and it's going to do a readout for each one it's doing. As it does it, it pops the reading in. So here comes the next one. Yeah, so those numbers popping in as the slot as it's going around doing all those individual, so it's 16 points by the looks of it. And it says it can handle anything up to 0.8mm deviance. But it comes around, it does that auto bed levelling like that. And it's done all that. And it sits there and I think to myself, well okay, I've levelled the bed out good, so that was a really good level. As you can see, it's levelling off. So then what I've done is I've gone into blah 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 Z offset. So this is what it does with Z offset. Z offsets. That clicking noise is the belt's a bit long. I've got to trim it, but I might just follow it back with a cable tie. It doesn't affect the operation. So it does the level in the corner, but it goes to the centre. So it's now found where it should be. I can off it there in now. Awesome. So that's not good. No, you can't see anything. I'm just pressing down now to try and get a gap. I've got a gap now. Okay. So I've got a gap there now. And now I'm going to press up until I can't move the paper anymore. So that's got it now, it's grabbed it. Right, so that should be touching the bed more or less. So I'm going to press set as 0, set Z as 0. I think that's what to do. Then we come out of that and press there, and we'll press auto bed level. So I'm just going to do its thing now. I'll get some alcohol and I'll clean it. So you saw it. I've just cleaned it. I've done all the levelling. And hopefully it's going to stick this time. Who knows? It thinks it can stick to 70 degrees bed with a PET G. I don't think it can. So you've got the best chance of doing that. And you see on the build plate on the head, some paper or something. Oh well. Not good. Oh yeah, the layer's going down this time. That is for sure. Get out of the way, hopefully. Oh yeah, that's definitely going down. Get out of the way. Let's go out of the way to the skirt. I don't know how much the skirt's going to be. Oh yeah, it's definitely sticking now. That's definitely down. Well happy. Straight to the centre. And is it going to stick? I don't think so. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. It's better. Yeah, it's sticking. Beautiful. Yeah, it sticks to about 70 degrees. Don't do that on the cloudy day, don't. Well, it does, but on big force it will definitely peel off at 70. So this is the second layer. It's speeding up, going way faster than the cruise actually goes. So we've got a print off in 32 minutes. Printing done. Excellent. Tools, preheat. So everything's cooling down. Good. And here's the print. It's going to come off. Yeah, not too easily, but it came off. So the first layer was pretty good. Got a few surface defects. Yeah, I'm just editing, and I thought, you know what, I've got a pair of calipers here, so let's see what we've got. 19.8. 19.8, not bad, eh? What size the circle was supposed to be? 19.6. 19.7. So it's not quite perfect, but it's alright. Adjustments required. Now it turns out that magnets aren't strong enough, so I've had to modify it. Here was the plate that was bonded in there, the 3 magnets on. I think it was in there at that sort of orientation like that. And you might see the bonding agent on the back there. I heated it up. And obviously when you heat magnets up, they don't last as magnetic for very long, and these were no different. They're not magnetic anymore. So I've drilled some holes in the back of the unit, and I've glued the unit directly to this plate. And the holes drilled so I can get the 2 screws in, the normal fixing screws that would have held the original hot end on, so corresponding to those 2 at the top there. In a second we should get some action happening. Definitely oozing. There we go, there's the action. Let's give it a bit of a clean. I shall try it. Yeah, okay, the brim is looking slightly better than normal. Now you can see the width of it coming on. So these thing is smoothers. All good. Right, I'll go have a look at the thing now, the TRONXY XY. This is printing at 230 degrees at 75 bed temperature. It seems to be liking it. It's usually overheating by now, and we're getting some defects in it, but I don't know. Looking good. I'll go and just thought, oh, this is the it's just smooth as silk. It makes a bit of a noise there as it comes off the PTFE, so that's as it's coming off that piece of PTFE there. I've cut it at an angle. Yeah, that's beautiful. So like I've used deodorant cans cut up. There's my bits and bobs. So don't ask me what's going on. Obviously got to sort out retractions. This is going to be a funky looking part. The black and the red are intermixing. Looking quite gold to be fair. Just the theory. Is it working? Yes it is. Is it clogging? No. Is it stringing? Yes. Is it print quality crap? Yes. Oh well, will it work? Yes. I'm guessing it's got heat creep. It's stopped printing. So, the hot end, bit of a waste of time. I'm going to have to modify the fin section in the centre. The rest of it should be fine, but I've got to take it all to pieces. I've got to remake the centre bit, and I think I'm going to get a piece of stainless steel which goes up closer to the PTF tube at the top there. Don't ask me what this bit is, do I? Is it going to peel off? Oh, it's going to actually break off the... Oh, I wanted to come with it. Oh, no, I'll get it off. Let me get it off. Regardless of the print, it stuck that well. Let's touch my bed out there. Good grief. So that was a massive waste of time putting that on. I'm going to get a piece of glass then, because what was really